Kurinji Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
Kurinji Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.com.
In continuation to the last class, in this class, first we are going to discuss an example problem. An example problem based on the previous information class. So in our previous class, we focused to learn Kepler laws. So Kepler first law, Kepler second law and Kepler's third law. Kepler first law is also called as law of orbits. Kepler second law is also called as law of areas, and Kepler's third law, so which is called as law of periods. Law of periods. Okay, right. But this is the problem. Example 8.1 is based on we are going to use Kepler laws to solve this problem. Okay, right. This is what example problem. First example problem from gravitation chapter. Okay. First we will discuss the example problem and then we will go for next continuation, that is what the universal law of gravitation. Okay, right. See here, ma. First you see the problem, then we will go for answer. See here. Let the speed of the planet at the perihelion P as shown in figure be Vp. So in our previous class I drew one picture, right? So that picture you have to keep in mind. Otherwise you just take the textbook when you are watching this video and you just see the picture. As shown in figure B Vp and to the corresponding quantities at the aphelion. To the corresponding quantities at the aphelion RAVA, right? Will the planet take equal times to traverse BAC and CPB? BAC and CPB, that is the question. Okay, right. So what he is asking is, it is what in our previous class when I was explaining law of orbits, I drew one picture on the board itself. So that picture, that is what according to the textbook figure 8.1a. Generally it is the first figure from this chapter, right? So that picture you have to keep in mind. The question is, let the speed of the planet at the perihelion P as shown in the figure be Vp and the sun planet distance SP be R1. SPB is RP. Relate RP, VP to the corresponding quantities at the aphelion RA, VA. Full stop. Now the question is, will the planet take equal times to traverse BAC and CPB? That is the question. Okay. So first you have to understand the problem, then you can go for answer. Okay, right. See the answer, ma. The magnitude of the angular momentum at P is LP is equal to, you know the formula for angular momentum, that is L is equal to mvr. So here LP is equal to MP VP RP. Just it is what P means perihelion, that is the only difference, and A means aphelion. So actually angular momentum L is equal to mvr, no, that is the only formula we are using here. Since inspection tells us that RP and VP are mutually perpendicular. RP and VP are mutually perpendicular. Similarly, LA is equal to that is what here MP into RA VA, full stop. From conservation of angular momentum, right? So from angular momentum conservation, you can write this. That is what MP into VP RP is equal to MP into RA VA. From this, this will get cancelled. MP will get cancelled. That is what mass, right? In both the cases, the planet is same. No, that's why it will be get cancelled. And now VP by VA is equal to RA by RP. Since RA is greater than RP, VP is greater than VA. So he is saying this information mathematically, right? So when we are having this relation, in that relation, when RA is greater than RP, automatically you can say VP is greater than VA. So what is VP, what is VA, we know. So what is VP? See here. Let the speed of the planet at the perihelion P as shown in figure be VP. So VP is the speed of the planet at perihelion. And what is VA? Speed of the planet at aphelion. And what is RA? See here. Right. What is RA and what is RP? RP is the sun planet distance. SP, B, RP. Similarly, what is RA? When the planet is at the position aphelion, that is what RA. So mathematically, when RA is greater than RP, since RA is greater than RP, so this is what we know. Automatically, you can say VP is greater than VA. But the area SBAC, bounded by the ellipse, and the radius vectors SB and SC, is larger than SBPC as shown in the figure, right? So from Kepler's second law, equal areas are swept in equal intervals of time. Hence, the planet will take a longer time to traverse. BAC than CPB. Okay, right. So in this problem, we checked, will the planet take equal times to traverse BAC and CPB? So what is the answer? No, because see here, the planet will take a longer time to traverse BAC than CPB. Okay, right. So next, so now we discussed example problem, that is example 8.1. Now we are going to discuss the next continuation and most important formula, universal law of gravitation. So whatever the law we are going to discuss now, which is universally valid, wherever you go, whatever the planet, whatever the galaxy, whatever the system. So but this law of gravitation is valid. Okay, see here, legend has observed that observing an apple falling from a tree, Newton was inspired to arrive at an universal law of gravitation that led to an explanation of terrestrial gravitation as well as Kepler laws, right? So what he is saying from here to here, so whatever the universal law of gravitation proposed by Newton, for this law, what is the basic situation, what is the basic incident? That is what I think already you know from our in our lower classes also. I think you might have got it. But what I am saying is, You know, on one day when Newton was staying, right, when Newton was sitting under the apple tree, so he looked at, he looked and he looked at apple, when apple is going to separate from a tree or from a branch, it falls towards the earth. So then immediately one thought strike in his mind, and he immediately started to think about why the apple falls from a branch is only going to reach the ground, reach the earth. Why not it is going to move towards the space, that is what away from the earth, why it is not going? That is the question came into his mind, and he started to think about that. So while thinking about that, he got a lot of information, right, and he got a lot of ideas, and he got a lot of confusion, and he got a lot of clarity. After completion of this mental process, after completion of this thought process, right, so it may take days or months or years, but anyhow, this idea of falling apple and reaching towards the earth, reaching the earth in front of Newton led to propose the Newton's law of, led to propose the universal law of gravitation. That's we are calling it as Newton's law of gravitation, otherwise Newton's universal law of gravitation. Okay, right. See here, and he is also adding some of the thing here, that also you just see here. Explanation of terrestrial gravitation as well as Kepler's laws, okay, right. Newton's reasoning was that the moon revolving in an orbit of radius rm was subject to a centripetal acceleration due to the Earth's gravity of magnitude. I told you when we were in the chapter of laws of motion, right, or rotational motion, whatever it may be the chapter, I don't mind it, but whenever we got the topic of circular motion, I told you for a body to be in circular motion or to get a circular motion or to continue the circular motion, right? So there is a requirement of centripetal force. The first and foremost force which acts on a body which is in circular motion is centripetal force. Okay, right. Here also he is saying that is only no. Newton's reasoning was that the moon revolving in an orbit of radius rm was subject to centripetal acceleration due to Earth's gravity of magnitude. So this is what the magnitude of centripetal acceleration, am is equal to v square by rm. A is equal to v square by r, already we know, but here am is equal to v square by rm. That is equal to 4 pi square into rm by t square. Okay, here itself what is v? V is equal to 2 pi rm by t. This is what like speed is equal to distance by time. So by completing that circular path once, if you observe carefully, what is the speed means, that is what distance, the circumference. So it is 2 pi r. Here we are writing with notation 2 pi rm divided by t. So by writing this value here, actually we have to get 4 pi square rm square by t square, but already rm is here. That's why the magnitude of centripetal acceleration due to Earth's gravity is am is equal to 4 pi square rm by t square. Now v is the speed of the moon. Related to the time period t by this relation, that is v is equal to 2 pi rm by t. Now the time period t is about, capital T is about 27.3 days, and rm was already known then to be about 3.84 into 10 to the power of 8 meters. So this is the mathematical value of rm, that is 3.84 into 10 to the power of 8 meter, and time period is 27.3 days. That's I already told you what is the time period. time taken to complete one rotation. That is what? Simply time period. So here they have given the value of time period and value of Rm. Full stop. If we substitute these numbers, in this equation, here we will get a value of Am much smaller than the value of acceleration due to gravity. We get a value of Am much smaller than the value of acceleration due to gravity, small g, on the surface of Earth, arising also due to the Earth's gravitational attraction. So he is saying that this is what notation to represent acceleration due to gravity. That is what? Small g. So observe carefully by substituting these two values, Rm value and T value here, so that you are getting Am value. See here, these numbers in the above equation, we get a value of Am much smaller than the value of small g on surface of Earth, arising also due to the Earth's gravitational attraction. So what it indicates? This is what acceleration due to gravity. So acceleration due to gravity is nothing but the acceleration developed or produced in a freely falling body due to the gravitational pull of Earth. Acceleration due to gravity is nothing but the acceleration developed or produced in a freely falling body due to the gravitational pull of Earth. Okay, right. Afterwards, see here, this clearly shows that the force due to the Earth's gravity, this clearly shows that the force due to the Earth's gravity decreases with distance. If one assumes that the gravitational force due to the Earth decreases in proportion to the inverse square of the distance from the center of Earth, we will have Am is directly proportional to Rm whole to the power of minus 2. And G is directly proportional to Re whole to the power of minus 2. Okay. And there itself, you can write it as, we get G by Am is equal to Rm square by Re square, which is approximately equal to 3600. Okay, right. Now, in agreement with a value of G is approximately equal to 9.8 meter per second square. That's what the value of acceleration due to gravity on surface of Earth. And the value of Am from this equation, right? That is what here we have. So from here we are getting Am value, and the G value on surface of Earth is approximately 9.8 meter per second square. 9.8 meter per second square. And if you agree, suppose in agreement with the value of G approximately equal to 9.8 meter per second square, and the value of Am from equation 8.3, that is what just now, this is the equation. These observations led Newton to propose the following universal law of gravitation. So I already told you here itself, when he observed that the apple falls from a tree will reach the surface of Earth, he got many ideas, he got a lot of information into his brain, and then he thought to put the information in an order, right? So that's why finally he got one statement, that is the statement given by Newton, and which is even today also it is valid, and we are believing that, and we are following, and even today the technology has developed vast, okay, and we are sending so many satellites, and ISRO, right? So even also today also, why I am saying that point means, suppose if we take the atomic structure, right, Rutherford is valid in case of finding the existence of nucleus, but regarding the stability, Rutherford model has failed. So that's why So one statement or one information is valid after completion of certain years. Some other scientist will come and will cross check, means if it is correct, if it exists, if it is correct, it exists in the nature permanently for certain over period of time. But if it is not correct, it will become as a failure. But in case of this Newton's law of universal gravitation, even today also we are following that and we are believing that. See here, this is the statement, please observe carefully. Every body in the universe, right? Every body in the universe attracts every other body with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, right. So this is what the quotation what they have given is essentially from Newton's famous treatise called Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, right? That is the book from Newton's. From that book we got this quotation. This is, that book name is Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. Okay, right. And regarding the mathematical, in physics, for physical statement we are going to give mathematical form, no? Right. So the gravitation, the force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses, means mathematically you can write is m1 m2, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance means this is what r square. And if we remove that proportional symbol, we are getting a constant, that is universal gravitational constant, that is capital G. The value of capital G is 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So this is the mathematical form of Newton's universal law of gravitation. Okay. Now here this F is the force on a point mass m2. F is the force on a point mass m2 due to another point mass m1. Another point mass m1 has the magnitude. So modulus of F bar is equal to G into m1 by G into m1 m2 by r square. And in vector form, so F bar is equal to G into m1 m2 by r square into minus r cap. Minus r cap, this is what unit vector. The same thing you can also write like this, just we took a minus outside. Except that remaining is these two are same. Now the same thing you can also write like this. Observe carefully, right? This is what r cap, and here modulus of r cubed. Modulus of r cubed. The numerator is same, that is G into m1 m2. G is a scalar quantity, capital G is a scalar quantity, and m1 is also scalar quantity, and m2 is also scalar quantity. I hope you already know that m1, m2 are the masses, no? So mass is basically scalar quantity. Okay, right. And in this entire universe, to identify the position of one particular object, we have Cartesian coordinate system. So here you can see this is the position of m1 and position of m2. So position is r1 from center or origin, and this is r2 from center, and this is the displacement between these two masses. And here, I already told you G is the universal gravitational constant, and r cap also I told you that is the unit vector. Unit vector from m1 to m2. From m1 to m2. And you can also write r is equal to r2 minus r1, because it is r2, it is r1, right? It is r2 and it is r1. This is r. I didn't write here, but I think you will notice with this red light, this is r, right? This is r. Now, the gravitational force, the nature of gravitational force is attractive. So, I am repeating once again, the gravitational force is attractive. The gravitational force is attractive. Okay, that is the force capital F is along minus r bar. The force capital F is along minus r bar. So this is r bar, no? So it will be reverse, minus r bar. The force on point mass m1, the force on point mass m1 due to m2 is of course minus F by Newton's third law. Thus, the gravitational force F12, thus the gravitational force F12 on the body 1 due to body 2. The gravitational force F12 on the body 1 due to 2 and F21 on the body 2 due to 1 are related as F12 is equal to minus F21. So what is Newton's first law, what is Newton's second law, and what is Newton's third law? We discussed in the chapter of laws of motion. In the chapter of laws of motion. Okay. So here again he is reminding us, here he is saying that what is Newton's third law, right? So for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction exists in the nature. That is what Newton's third law. Okay, right. And now if you apply this equation, that is what, this is the equation, right? This is the equation. So now if you apply this equation to the objects under consideration, we have to be careful since the law refers to point masses, whereas we deal with extended objects which have finite size, right? So here M1, M2 means actually this law considering, right? This law refers to the point masses. Point means very small amount of mass. But when we are going to deal extended objects like for example ball, for example celestial objects like smaller, even though the mass is small, but in terms of kgs, okay, and in terms of tons, like that means what we have to do? So we have to deal, right? So when we are dealing with finite size, we have to be very careful. If we have a collection of point masses, the force on any one of them is the vector sum of the gravitational forces, is the vector sum of the gravitational forces exerted by the other point masses as shown in this figure, right? As shown in this figure. Okay, right. So now how can we write the total force? The total force on M1 from this picture. The total force on M1 from this picture. See here, right? So you can see here what is the force which is acting, the net force, right? The net force acting on small mass M1 due to the remaining things, Otherwise you can say that it is what the total force on M1. Total force on M1. See here, So that is what gravitational force on point mass M1 on point, this is M1, see here. So M1 is here. So it is M2, M3 and M4. Here we have M1. I didn't write here, but you just imagine. Here is M1, small m1. So the gravitational force on point mass m1 is the vector sum of the gravitational forces exerted by m2, m3 and m4. Okay, right. Now we can write this is what expression, mathematical expression for total force on m1, that is F1 is equal to G into m1 m2 by R21 square into R21 cap plus G into m3 m1 divided by R31 square into R31 cap plus G into m4 m1 by R41 square into R41 cap. Okay, right. This is what total force on m1 due to the remaining masses m2, m3 and m4. Okay, right. So here in this class we discussed one example problem, that is example 8.1. So there he asked to check. So with the help of one figure, right, or picture, he asked to check, will the planet take equal times to traverse BAC and CPB, BAC and CPB, right? So there we cross checked and we told that the planet will take a longer time. The planet will take a longer time to traverse BAC than CPB. After that we started to discuss universal law of gravitation, which is very important, not only for board point of view, for NEET point of view also this formula is important, and we have to be in a position to apply this formula wherever we want. Okay, and this is the expression for centripetal acceleration, and here this is the ratio of acceleration due to gravity to the centripetal acceleration of moon revolving. See here, right, moon revolving in an orbit of radius rm, so which is approximately equal to 3600, and this is the statement. It is the statement of Newton's law of gravitation, right? So these 4 lines of matter is indicating what is the universal law of gravitation. It is a mathematical form and it is the vector form. With the help of this picture we are identifying what is the nature of the gravitational force and what is the direction of gravitational force. And here we are calculating the total force on small mass m1 due to m2, m3 and M4. That is what here I have written. Okay, right. Thank you. In our next class, we will continue with next continuation topic.